Jerome Wright here, and once again, you're joining me on my Jerome Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going to be detailing some interesting finds and discoveries I made with the assistance of my mirroring tech mic with regards to Sandro Botticelli's painting of the birth of Venus. Okay, in this video, again, people, I'm unscripted, so I just go at it without a script. So, and you gotta imagine that, and I'm alleging that I'm having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter. So, and me describing these videos, sometimes that might sound distant or out of the ordinary there, but what happens is that I have a source of information that's continuously coming into me and going out. And as I'm sharing, more things are coming in. So I have to find a common ground in this struggle in my head in trying to describe one scenario while other scenarios are presenting themselves dimensionally in my head. And this is a true account of what is going on with me. All right. So therefore, having said that, Sandro Botticelli, he made this painting, Birth of Venus. It's a controversial painting, and on top of that, he's detailing the birth of Venus. That this is a monumental time in history, and now. Not just that, is that when these Renaissance artists make these paintings, you know, they have the approval and the okay of ancient rooted royalty and ancient rooted religion who oversaw the Renaissance era with these artists. I mean, you didn't get away with making paintings unless, you know, they approved it. They were the officiators of all of this, the referees, so to speak, of this. I mean, could you imagine back there where the laws were lapsed? You would be beheaded if you made something that ancient rooted royalty or ancient rooted religion did not agree with. Okay, and again, I could imagine that these similar paintings or copies or some of Botticelli's work would be hanging in the Vatican or globally across the world in ancient rooted royalty or any other place that this famous artist's works would pop up, because he was famous for the artworks that he created in the Renaissance era. However, Botticelli, when this image is mirrored, it produces many of several images. And why did I print that twice, I wonder? Many of several images, and I kind of printed that twice. I'm kind of upset because I wasted that ink. And one of which is this here. We'll take a good look at that, because what that is the face of a cow. The cow's mouth, the cow's nostrils, the cow's head is depicted in there. Morphing the image of a cow is that of what I like to describe as the Egyptian ape or the Mandarin ape, or more clearly, knowing that I know where the Mandarin ape evolved from, and this is the first time you ever heard anybody say that, which is from our reptilian ape ancestor. And these creatures, there is a history in detail, not just in Renaissance artwork, but in a detailed artwork art gallery that is possibly not known to anybody except until now, released by me, on how these images can come up. And I like to think that I have the key to everything, and I am the only one of this world that has that key. All right. Again, there's the face of a cow here, morphing that of a Mandarin ape of the Mandarin family, ape family being that of Mandarin. Now, you see that the figures that are flown in here, notice how when their bodies are mirrored, it creates not just that, but the guy's hand and the woman's hand rolling around, and they're offering up the head of this person of color, which I like to say kind of resembles that of Michael Jackson in the middle. You see that? Now, you're probably wondering how this image comes about, but if you notice the woman's hand here going around, there's part of the face right there. When the two halves come together in the mirror, this is created. Here's half of it back here. So she's reaching around. And surprise, you see the cow's face? This creates the cow's nose, see the cow's mouth, and they're offering up the head of this person of color, which is talking about our ape and African ancestry genes that they're talking about. They're bridged over. This is discussing genetic bridging. Now, if you go out further, again, there's the cow, there's the mandarin ape, reptilian ape, I like to say, image, and there's also an image of a lion, depending on the resolution that you look at this in, that is morphing this image. People, what is going on is that they're describing that through the genetic interventions, the genetic manipulations, the cauldron cocktail of all of these creatures, the birth of Venus came. And this is why Sandro Botticelli made this commemorating painting of the birth of Venus, talking about through the genetic cocktail of all of these genes. Subsequently, Venus was born as a result. And Venus, what's so special about Venus is that now she is furthered away. She was born without the genes of our ape and African ancestor, thanks to that genetic cocktail. I don't think I could have been more clear than that, could I? Here's a closer up look of it. And as you see, the figure has the stripe, those markings in the face. You know how the Africans and the Haitian people put those deep cuts in their face, scars in their face? Well, this little guy has it on the side of his face too, with this afro. On the forehead of the cow, see the serpent right here? I know what all of this means, people. You see that? Look at those beautiful eyes of the cow. I mean, I detailed a little highlight there, but you can see for the most part in the mirrored image all of this happens. Now, people, it just doesn't go to this based on our African and our ape ancestors. What happens is that there is a system that must be, in these records, in these blueprints, in these grails, they have to describe how the genes from the reptilian ape calls for the creation of the ape. Then they detail how from the creation of the ape came the likenesses of that of our African ancestors. Then they have to describe that in our Asian ancestors, how the Egyptian ancestors too, well, which is finally after and that into the Asian ancestors came the Caucasian, come from Asians came Caucasians. And normally in this entire record, you would find a motion picture as to everything that I am stating. And here, in this mirrored image, which is almost in a slide effect, you can almost look at this as being a slide effect. You will see the Buddhist looking fellow in the center there. See the Buddha looking fella there? Would be the belly area, the head area. Okay? This Asian fella, again, see that Buddha looking fella sitting there? Is describing a moment in this cocktail, in this created cauldron the breakdown of these genes. Here's another part of it where this guy is holding like razor-like knives. Now this, keep in mind, these razor-like knives, this is like an ancient Chinese weapon. You ever see them with those tools right there? See this guy? Look, there's the head, the shoulders, the hands coming around holding this. Now keep in mind what he's holding in his hand as a weapon is this guy. This is before this image here. Look, you see that right there? He's holding a half as a weapon of this African guy image hair, stating, and you know that hair represents genes. So what is he stating? Let me see if I have that image. Where's that image at? Up underneath it? It's probably right. Am I having it there? Oh, it's already up there already. I'm sitting here looking for it. In between his hands here, in this guy's hand, you'll see a nut or gene in between his hands right there. And you know what they're stating? That through the nuts, the genes of the African, there was an extraction made. They are telling you that they are the ones, after African came Asians, they are telling you and describing in these images, in these slides. Each and one of these slides are describing how, through an extraction of the African gene, Caucasians were created. And this is what this is all about. And these are just a handful of the images. I'm going to have to, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This is just a handful of those images. There are other images that shows the mutations and everything, people. You know, but this is just something in describing on how they arrived. This is why Sandro Botticelli is stating the birth of Venus, and why this is so important. Because this is a birth of a Caucasian, where finally a Caucasian was created, and the full extraction of the black genes, the African ape genes, the Asian genes were depleted or extracted, sent out, or pointed up like they always do. They always have the finger going up, you know. So people, this is where they're at with this. And it's all along in what I've been stating, that they're describing how through a genetic manipulation of genes that have always been in practice by our ancestors through the guise of religion and ancient rooted religion, those people, and royalty, those people that demand that you worship them and give them money and bow down to them, or else, are the same people that have been in practice with this, that are gene altering themselves. And in closing, what I would like to say is that, you know, with all of the money and all of the power in the world that these people have, and they do have it, the only element that is missing is that of being able to, longevity, or should I say, in time, to be able to live forever, or the fountain of youth. And people, this is what this is all about. They're not doing it in a sense like how Michael Jackson was doing it, or Little Kim, and going to run into these doctors, getting a boob job done, getting a nose job done. They are doing it from the inside out through cell restructuring, which actually goes to the same exact thing as what is going on today with people that get too much money than what they know what to do with, and they go to running off to a doctor and getting themselves altered through medical procedures, which include facelifts, liposuctions, and that thing of a sort. These people are doing it on a big time level. I'm talking about our ancient rooted religion and our ancient rooted royalty, and what they are doing is genetically altering mankind's being on a mass scale. and Renaissance art is what is actually recorded and all. My name is Jerome Wright. Thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you on my next one, because I don't have an end. He's detailing the birth of Venus, that this is a monumental time in history. And now, not just that, is that when these Renaissance artists make these paintings, you know, they have the approval and the okay of ancient rooted royalty and ancient rooted religion, who oversaw the Renaissance era with these artists. I mean, you didn't get away with making paintings unless, you know, they approved it. I'm ground in this struggle in my head in trying to describe one scenario while other scenarios are presenting themselves dimensionally in my head. And this is a true account of what is going on with me. All right, so therefore, having said that, Sandro Botticelli, he made this painting, Birth of Venus. It's a controversial painting, and on top of that, Jerome Wright here, and once again, you're joining me on my Jerome Wright YouTube channel here on YouTube. In this video, I'm going to be detailing some interesting finds and discoveries I made with the assistance of my mirroring tech mic with regards to Sandro Botticelli's painting of that of the birth of Venus. Okay, in this video, again, people, they were the officiators of all of this, the referees, so to speak, of this. I mean, could you imagine back there where the laws were lapsed? You would be beheaded if you made something that ancient rooted royalty or ancient rooted religion did not agree with. Okay, and again, I could imagine that these similar paintings or copies or some of Botticelli's work would be hanging in the Vatican or globally across the world in ancient rooted royalty or any unscripted. So I just go at it without a script. So, and you got to imagine that, and I'm alleging that I'm having a genuine paranormal experience and encounter. So, and me describing these videos, sometimes that might sound distant or out of the ordinary there, but what happens is that I have a source of information that's continuously coming into me and going out. And as I'm sharing, more things are coming in. So I have to find a